international staffing. Before that, what are the conditions need to be decided and met? That is, while you are hiring a global manager or going for hiring some number of PCNs, HCNs, and TCNs, and a clear idea about so why HCN, why PCN, and why TCN need to be done. So that will give a fair idea and also helps in making decision. So this week we shall discuss the topics related to international labor market, international recruitment function, again headhunters, cross-national recruitment, international staffing choice, different approaches to multinational staffing decisions, types of international assignments, selection criteria and techniques. Now let us understand the advantages of TCNs. Hiring TCNs may help in salary and benefits requirements may be lower than TCNs, and TCNs may be better informed than PCNs about the host country environments, more global in because as usually the TCNs are preferred for only when there is need, that is whenever any controlling monitoring is required in headquartered in the third country where the MNC is operating. There, in order to have a better channelization or monitoring, we may go for hiring TCNs because of again a low intensive operations of the MNCs, and the salary and benefit requirement of such TCNs are also less compared to PCNs and HCNs. And also such TCNs can be better informed about the requirements need or the strategic objectives need to be met compared to the PCNs and HCNs. So, and such TCNs also will be more global in approach. So, in that way, the hiring of TCNs will be helpful. And let us understand the disadvantages of TCNs. Sometimes the transfer must consider possible national animosities. The transfer must consider possible national animosities, and host country may resent hiring TCNs. TCNs may not want to return to their own countries after assignment. Suppose if we hire the TCNs, sometimes they may reject to go back to their own country, or again based on the situations, if you would like to change or transfer the TCN, that time it might be a problem, and host country may not accept the TCNs in their subsidiary. So these are the disadvantages. Again, the staffing also depends on the approaches in international staffing. That is, in the first unit, the introductory aspects of international HRM, we discussed about the approaches, so that also need to be considered here. The approaches like ethnocentric, polycentric, geocentric, and regiocentric. Why? Because once we understand the need of hiring different expatriates, then we should analyze the approaches also, because the decision with respect to approach will help in fairly deciding whom to select and why you are selecting. So here we have again 4 different approaches what we have discussed earlier, that is ethnocentric approach, polycentric approach, geocentric approach, regiocentric approach. Ethnocentric approach is hiring the PCNs. Suppose if the MNC go for hiring the PCNs, only PCNs, and because of the advantages what we have discussed, that is called as ethnocentric approach. Polycentric approach is staffing of HCNs based on the advantages, again what we have understood. And in geocentric approach, irrespective of the nationality, the company will go for looking for a competitive person, individual. So that is called as geocentric approach. And regiocentric approach is staffing for the regional headquarters. Now let us understand the types of recruitment. They are headhunters, cross-national advertising, e-recruitment. The first method is headhunting. So as the name itself says, headhunting is where we look for a competitive person, maybe a PCN or HCN or TCN, for the key positions, for the top level jobs, higher level jobs. So where we may take the help of a consultant or an agent or advertising in international context, any method we can follow. But so this type of recruitment is very intensive and it may go for a long period of time. Why? Because choosing the persons for key positions may require a good amount of time and good amount of the verifications based on their competencies, the working styles, experiences, achievements, the knowledge and administrative skills, the leadership qualities, motivational parameters, and decision making, the type of decision making, then their planning activities like that. So hardly we'll be having few competitors during this staffing, and among such available number of competitors, we need to go for a hiring. So this is called as headhunting. So why the term head has been given is because of the limited number. So easily we can count the number of heads and we hunt. Hunting means where it takes a long uh, term, long procedure, a lengthy procedure is involved. And the next one is cross-national advertising. So again, the recruitment by giving an advertisement in different countries can be can also be done. So advertisement in different medias, newspapers, and advertising in the subsidiary or uh, MNCs or in public places, the other countries' public places like that. And the next one is e-recruitment. That is recruitment through virtually, through electronic media, that is through email or through video conferencing or by sending a circular or an advertisement through internets, the other electronic platforms. This is about recruitment. Now let us understand the selection criteria and techniques. So before, once the recruitment is done, that is decided about the method and the actual advertisement in different modes, then the selection needs to be conducted. Before taking up the selection procedure, the HR need to think about the criterias and certain techniques need to be followed. The selection criterias include technical ability, task cultural suitability, family requirements, country cultural requirements, many requirements, and language. That is, the HR need to analyze the technical ability of the individuals and their cross-cultural suitability, their family requirements, country cultural requirements, many requirements. That is, family requirements means the support by the family members, spouse, the parents, children, like that. Why? Because without their consent and support, the expatriate cannot be hired, selected, and suppose if an expatriate has been selected and a proper arrangement with respect to the work of spouse or education of children or looking after of their parents need to be taken. The responsibility again lies with the MNC or HR, and with respect to cross-cultural suitability, how is the person, the expatriate, the cultural adoption, his her values, beliefs, thoughts, attitudes with respect to different countries and awareness of the cultural preferences, background of the people in different countries also need to be tested. And country cultural requirements, how the person could able to adapt themselves to the different cultural requirements, many requirements, their understanding on the different languages, like that. So these criteria must be fulfilled, and later can go for selection. Means here kind of preliminary selection will be done. Why? Because the expatriates will be tested for their understanding. That is, they will be interacted with respect to the different working conditions, the country's environment, the type of living, the working style, food habits, the environment, the physical environment, and the technical ability required, like that. So initially, the few expatriates will be shortlisted, and all will be interacted about all this. So out of this, whom the HR prefer to be like the best compared to others in the among the alternatives will be finally considered. So here, because during the interaction, the cultural adjustment phase, that is an explanation or brief introduction to cultural adjustment phase also will be done. Why? Because an expatriate may feel a cultural shock in his initial visit. That is in the initial days, so that is very important. Suppose if the expatriate is good in overcoming such shock, then he or she will adjust to the conditions, situation, and later can complete the task. But due to the cultural task, if the expatriate would not prefer to continue the assignment and would like to come back, then it will be again a tedious process for the HR because of the incomplete of the expatriation. So such conditions need to be discussed thoroughly with the expatriates, and their interest towards learning the language and all need to be done. So this is about the selection criteria and techniques. Now let us understand the use of selection test. The different selection tests like that is before going for the actual test. So what are the benefits uses of different tests need to be understood. They are measurement of personal characteristics or traits. The selection test must be able to measure the personal characteristics or traits, how to measure personal traits accurately and reliably, personality and psychological tests, validity of tests varies from country to country, and subjective nature of test because a general or uniform type of test cannot be taken. We need to measure that based on the different characteristics of an individual and their traits. So suitable types or methods of selection test need to be adopted so that they are uniform and they are fair. The test which may be about the knowledge to test the knowledge, then behavior, aptitude, attitude, technical ability, then situational test, stress test to to check the level of bearing of stress test, then simulation test, test through role plays, discussions. Such different types of test also can be conducted. The once the expatriate candidate undergo these tests, and later the different interviews will be conducted. The final interview the for selection of an expatriate is in IHRM we will be generally following two types of interviews. One is screening interview and selection selection interviews. In the screening interview, that is a general discussion about the expatriates, the candidates' interest, likes, dislikes, their values, attitude, then their career objective, and the qualities, their strengths, weaknesses. Such a general discussion with respect to the language and the cultural awareness will be done. And finally, the selection interview will be conducted where the candidate will be, the expatriate will be interviewed for based on the job and role he or she is going to perform. During this selection, the HR may face few issues. Some issues they are the issues of staff selection. The issues like the myth of global manager and profile of an expatriate, expatriate failure, and the global manager. That is the global manager, the issue with respect to global manager. That is a misconception that a global manager uh, can will be having a good competence and will be the solution for all the problems. So it is a myth. Just by hiring a person as global manager may not fulfill all the needs and demands, means cannot solve all the problems. And also the profile of an expatriate sometimes may not be uh, as per the requirement of an MNC, and the issue with respect to failure, expatriate failure also may need to be faced. And that is just looking the expatriate as global manager also may not be the right type of selection. So these are the different recruitment and selection choices, the types, so which will be conducted to select an expatriate. Through this, an expatriate like a PCN, HCN and TCN will be sent for international assignments. The concepts have been taken from the prescribed and reference books which is mentioned in the table.